she comes over. I know why it is, though. All rise. Commissioner Arner, if you may lead us.
Father, we pray for each body, mind, and heart of those participating in this meeting, as well as the lives that we will encounter afterwards. Thank you for the men and women who serve our country in leadership roles, from frontline workers to the protection of our nation. We ask that you draw near them and protect them every minute of the days to come. Amen. God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of preparing accurate written minutes. Recordings are overwritten following approval of the minutes, eliminating all unofficial records of these proceedings. First item is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held March 7th, 2024.
Motion approved.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes. Are there any guests here concerning county business? Hearing none. Move on.
Report of executive sessions held.
There was one executive session held on Wednesday, March 13th at 2:30 p.m., and that was to discuss personnel.
Next item, the budget transfers. Gentlemen, I'm going to request a motion to amend the agenda.
Motion to amend.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Next would be the approval of the budget transfers for years 2023 and 2024.
Motion approved.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
There are no supplemental appropriations. Expenditures, approval of payroll check numbers 75760 through 75778, and direct deposit check numbers 6062565 through 6062991 for the payroll paid through the payroll fund checking account for all county funds totaling $663,809.87. This is a payroll dated March 11th, 2024.
Motion to ratify.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Approval of check numbers 242089 through 242252 for expenditures to the general fund clearing account totaling $2,305,869.24.
Motion approved.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
The treasurer's report.
Motion to approve as presented?
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
The personnel report for county departments.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
The acknowledgements for courts and row offices.
Motion to acknowledge.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Correspondence was received as listed. Copies will be made available to the press upon request. Advertising for approval. Authorize the advertisement of the county's intent to enact an ordinance establishing and providing for parking kiosks and multi-space parking meters, unmetered parking lots, and regulated parking, ticketing, and providing penalties for violation.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I'd just like to make a comment here for the benefit of those who may be questioning this. There will be an increase. That will be the increase will be for weekend daily rates only, and that will be going from the current rate of $12 to $15. Anyone that's been following parking will note that that's probably the cheapest in Jim Thorpe, and probably in the county at $15 for the day. All other rates will remain the same, with the exception of the RVs and trailers. they will be changed from $25 to $30. And that is also on weekends, Saturday and Sundays. Every other rate will remain the same. The Monday through Friday daily rate remains at $8, which is basically $1 per hour. So there are no other increases other than those on Saturdays and Sundays. The other point that should be noted in there is the county, and I'd like to thank Angelia and Robert for doing a fine job getting this all together. But there's been a section added to limit the county's liability and post some signs, that the county's not liable for vehicles and that are there. That signage probably should have been posted many years ago, so we were able to catch up on some housekeeping there as well. So with that all being said, I don't know if either commissioner has any comment, but
Okay, may I pull the board?
yes, you may.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Next item is the district courts. For approval and execution, a one-year renewal agreement with Blue Ridge Communications for local and long-distance service at the district court office in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, for a monthly recurring fee at $99.80.
Motion approved and execute.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Emergency management. For approval and execution, the submission of a grant application for the 2024 Federal Emergency Management Performance Grant, requesting funding in the amount of $60,000 for the term of October 1, 2023 through September 30th, 2024, to support salaries and benefits of the Emergency Management Coordinator and Administrative Assistant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
The hazmat report for approval and execution. The 2023 Annual Hazardous Materials Emergency Response Program report for submission to the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
A service agreement for approval. Annual service agreement with Johnson Controls Fire Protection LP, formerly Simplex Grinnell, covering the fire alarm system at the Carbon County Courthouse for the term of April 1, 2024 to March 31, 2025, at a total cost of $1,095, which represents no increase.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
The solicitors
for the electrifying jack-o'-lantern experience to be displayed September 20th through October 31st, 2024.
Motion approved. Oh,
Second?
Mr. Honor?
yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Likewise, seeking a motion for a banner request submitted by Jim Thorpe Area High School for the Class of 2025 event, breakfast and basket raffle will take place April 6, 2024 from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The banner to be displayed March 14th through April 7th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Under the courthouse renovation project, first of several change orders, seeking a motion for approval and execution of change orders numbers 1 through 3 to the contract with CMG of Easton, Pennsylvania for additional door hardware with a credit allowance of $980. Keyed cores and hardware revisions with a credit allowance of $2,603. Spray, fireproofing, and credit for intumescent paint with a credit allowance of $23,773. The contract remains the same at $1,489,900.
Motion to approve.
I will second that with some discussion on this. And I think this goes all the way back to Boyle Construction coming in here and giving us a overview of what this is for, because I think if anybody's looking at this and you deduct something, the contract should go down. And that's not the case here, but there's some things that were done or aren't being done, that we added some things to it. But there's one of the things that we actually, I don't know if you go back to a couple months ago when there was trouble with that electric units that could not go in the basement. Well, we got an estimate of over $60,000 to do that on the outside, and that was not incorporated in the plan. So now that's going back into the basement, and I need them to come in and explain to us when that goes back into the basement, if there's gonna be any upcharges, why that is gonna be. So I'm going back to it again. I think we have to have Boyle at the next meetings, because this is getting very critical. We're starting to spend a lot of money here, and they gotta come in and explain where the money is going to. And I'm not gonna, from now on, I'm not approving anything until they come in and start doing this, because now we're starting to get into the meat of the money. And, we can't slip up here, because the county, I mean, we did raise taxes, and we don't need another tax increase for us overspending. And that's about as far as it goes, what I have to say, and there's people ask me all the time about this, and I can sorta explain it, but they gotta come in and explain it. I think it's their job. And from now on, I'm not approving anything until they're here at the table explaining at the meetings. And we went over that, we made a motion, the 3 commissioners agreed on that, and they have not been here to explain it yet. And I'm tired of making excuses for other people.
We just met with the construction manager on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And there was discussion on this. So if you had any questions, why weren't they asked at that?
I did
particular
ask the
time?
questions there, and I think they gotta be here to explain it to the public, because the public's asking me why this is happening. They can explain behind closed doors anything, but we serve the people of Carbon County, not Boyle. Plain and simple.
May I call the board?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Honor?
yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes,
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
All right, now with some trepidation, I'm going to ask for a motion for approval and execution of change order number 1 to the contract with GR Noto Electrical Construction of Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, for an additional crane pick for uploading the generator, credit allowance in the amount of $3,759.41. The contract total remains the same at $1,072,500.
Motion.
second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Yeah, we just note that their contracts are remaining the same price, just moving things around.
Wait till next change order.
And with that, I'll call for a motion for approval and execution of change order number 1 to the contract with JBM Mechanical Incorporated of Nazareth, Pennsylvania, to relocate heat supply pipes. There will be a credit allowance in the amount of $4,905.48. The contract total remains the same at $2,020,000.
Motion to approve,
Second.
Mr. Honor?
No.
Mr. Notstein?
yes, and that is a credit allowance. So,
Mr. Sifranco?
I'm gonna say yes, but I will make a comment here. The key here is that the contract did not go up. The contract is remaining the same. I do see both Wayne and Rocky's side, and there has been numerous meetings, and we do have to keep this within the contract that was allotted. It's, and I do think that continuous meetings, which we are having, as long as we're not overspending in the change orders, there should be some credit coming back to the county, and I do think we need to look into that, which we are getting credit back and forth, as Rocky had said. There's stuff that we take out and there's stuff we add in, it kind of shifts. But the bottom line is that the bottom line stays the same.
And this was a no-brainer to the county, that pipes had to be moved that are at 7'10", and you have to put an 8'4" unit in. That should have been the project. That shouldn't come afterwards.
As I said, I inherited this, so
I know.
I'm not trying to.
No, no.
I inherited this and I wasn't here for that overview. I'm not trying to pass.
a lot of times we get into these contracts until they open up walls and start moving things and see there are gonna be changes, because you can't always do what you had planned on doing when you run into different issues. due to opening up walls or other issues with, things that won't fit when you go to put them in. There,
Great. Moving on, this one should be a little less controversial. Josiah White Park seeking a motion for approval and execution of a special activities agreement for the use of Josiah White Park, along with a request for the gazebo by New England Valley Mennonite Church of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, for a street meeting with a cappella singing and Bible teaching on May 5th, June 23rd, and July 21st of 2024.
motion to approve,
Second,
Mr. Honor?
yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Under the Emergency Operations and Training Center, seeking a motion for approval and execution of the fee schedule for the use of the fire facility located at the Emergency Operations and Training Center.
Discussion real quick, just to explain this motion and the next motion. This will not affect the county emergency services. This is strictly for non-members of the Fire Association, police, et cetera, or out of county that are requesting the use of the facility because they don't have the opportunity, or right now, I know one fire burn building is out of service because of wear and tear on the piping and for a propane system, so we are getting requests by other municipal or counties to conduct training here. And this was something that was discussed way back in the planning stages and how we were gonna handle this. So yes, there is we have a good fee schedule, one for the police building and one for the fire tower. So this is what the purpose of this is, for the out of county, not affecting in-county services.
So both of these motions, the one says non-county and the other one says, it just says proposed fees. So is that for any one of our fire companies that goes up there? Is there gonna be a fee, or
No, this is
there's
for
not
out
gonna
of county.
be?
No,
Okay.
the only fees if, would be if we have to pay instructors, et cetera, and, hopefully most of those will be covered by the associations or the foundation.
No, that's what I'm saying. I just don't, I mean, I look at the fees and I think this is something that's, I mean, this is essential to train. I mean, you see all over the other counties that, you know, firemen are getting hurt, and, you know, there might be people out there that think we're spending too much money, but I just don't want our own fire companies charged too much, and then they won't be able to come here. I mean, they're battling every day just to keep their lights on. And, I mean, I just look at the fees here and it doesn't say, I mean, it doesn't break it down to out of and in-house. I mean, I see a facilitator could be $15 an hour on a day and a second with all this stuff. I mean, it's not gonna wind up that each municipality or fire company is gonna have a $400 bill each day to train. I mean, that's what I just don't want that. I mean, this facility was put up, there's supposed to be grants for the whole thing, and now, I mean, there's expenses to it, but I just can't see people that are volunteering, that save our lives every day, charge for training. You know, that's,
No, and, well, maybe we have to put that wording in there so you have a clear understanding.
yeah, and that, I mean, I don't see
That
that
is,
there. I mean, if
you know,
it's
as I
in,
said, it's
yeah.
for out of county.
Okay.
Okay.
okay. I mean, I'm all right with that, but the one motion is for non-county agencies and the other one is the
They
training
should
center.
both be non-county.
So there should be only one motion then? Why do we have two
Two
motions?
different separate fees. One is for the police building and one is the burn building.
Yeah, but both of them say emergency operating training center on both of them. It doesn't specify
Well,
each motion separately. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm okay with it as long as our, you know, I said, we have fire companies that are struggling and some might even go out of business, and I don't think we need to add anything more to them.
Yeah, the, police one says EOTC Police Training Center fee schedule, and the other one does say, the fee schedule is for the fire facility, and it spells out for the propane burn building, et cetera. So,
Very good. We'll need a motion.
Need a motion.
We have the motion, that was discussion.
No, we didn't.
Oh, we didn't?
No, we did it.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. Please.
You
Okay,
making the
I'll make
motion?
the motion to approve.
So the first one's a motion, and this should also
The motion
be
would be.
titled as non-county also.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, I'll.
So that should be a
Let me
change.
amend my motion to state in there for out-of-county users.
Okay. I'll second that with the change.
Hold the
Mr.
board.
Sorry.
You're okay, go ahead.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes,
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Okay, then related to that would be a motion for approval and execution of a fee schedule for non-county agencies for the use of the Emergency Operations and Training Center, so as opposed to the fire
So the
facility.
police.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
First one was the fire, this one here would be the police. So,
I'll make that motion.
second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes.
And lastly, seeking a motion to adopt Resolution 11 of 2024, recognizing Maureen Y. Donovan of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania as the 2024 Shamrock Award recipient.
Motion to adopt resolution 24-011.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes. Anything further?
Nothing further for the solicitor's report.
Any further business?
Commissioners report. Mr. Honor?
I didn't have anything till this morning. I got a phone call about our bridge at Lehighton, that is on, what is it,
East Penn.
East Penn Street. And, I did send some pictures to the media. I don't know if they can go there and look at it. There's, rebar exposed. And I still go back to this thing, where is our infrastructure money that's supposed to funnel down to the counties? We have nothing to fix these bridges, and if you go there and look at it, what our report was last year, the piers are getting more dilapidated than they were last year. And the borough actually called me this morning, what are we gonna do about it? And the borough, I think, was down there and they actually assisted us on some of the things this morning. They swept the road off. I don't know how much dirt, I mean, some of the holes were a foot deep. And I go back to it again, we're fixing all of our roads, and where are they gonna go to? They're not gonna go anywhere. We have a beautiful 443, and how are we gonna go? And there's another one up there by, in Mahoning Township that they just closed yesterday. When are they gonna figure out that when you build a road, you gotta have something to get to there? Like, if they close that road there, that's probably one of the biggest bridges for traffic in Lehighton to get to different places. It goes up to children and youth, everybody comes from down the hill and goes over to go into Lehighton, and now that's gonna create more traffic going over towards the McCall Bridge or going to 9th Street. You know, and it's like, and I think PennDOT it goes back to them again. You ask them questions about it, and I think some of our bridges, we just got them put on that TIP plan, and what is it, a 4 to 12-year plan? 12 years. So in 12 years, I don't know what Carbon County's gonna do with fixing all their bridges. So that bridge probably there could have been fixed for maybe $500,000, and it'll be a replacement of $6-8 million in a couple of years. We have the bridge out at Beltsville, that's our bridge, the county bridge. The one that goes over, that's starting to get holes in it. That's probably a $30 million bridge. Like, where are the counties gonna get money to fix this? We're gonna need hundreds of millions of dollars to fix all our bridges. And if it's on a 12-year plan, God bless Carbon County. I mean, I have no idea where we're gonna get $100 million to fix all this stuff. And all the way from the top, this came down from the federal government and they handed it over to PennDOT. And people are complaining about it, and it was supposed to go to local municipalities, and it's not. So I don't know where to go from here. I send it to our representatives, I send it to other county representatives, and they have the same problem in every county. If you go out to Monroe County, there's bridges closed. If you go up north, there's bridges closed. Now they're working on the one at Route 80, and now they're gonna have detours all around, that their roads are probably gonna get dilapidated just by the detours. And it's like, it wouldn't be bad if you were detoured if they fix what was there. But they're not. They walk away and their roads look nice and then the counties look bad. And again, where are we getting the money? We're not. And the taxpayers ought to be aware of that somewhere along the line, this is gonna catch up to us. And that behind bridge, what they ought to do is drive across that, see what it looks like, and realize how many times you drive across that every day, or any bridge you're driving across. And when that's gone, how are you gonna get to where you're going? And I didn't like, and I've been talking about this bridge and the one, like the one that we have up there at, near Weatherly. Like that one there's gonna wind up being closed. There's no doubt, like it's down to one lane, and that's another one that's on the tip. For years from now, it's gonna be closed. So what are all these communities gonna be? We're gonna have a brand new bridge up at Route 80, and we're gonna have brand new 443. And where are you going to? To a detour. That's where you're going, to another detour. So,
Working on putting a meeting together with the District 7 commissioners in the Northeast, the 11 counties, with PennDOT and, or I should say our elected officials first, to discuss the problems and tell them what our issues are, lack of funding and the regulations, et cetera. So we are trying to set up a meeting through CCAP for District 7.
and the problem is, they know our issues. We have bad bridges and we don't have money. You know, we have $1 million, I think it's around $1 million that we have to pay, that we have to pay to fix the bridges, like 30% of it. So we could probably do $4 million worth of work if it was in the process. But till it gets in the process, that's gonna be a peanut in a little jar. I mean, there's no way that this county is gonna be able to afford our bridges. And I don't know why, like I said, I don't know where the disconnect is from the federal government to the state, because, and when they came out with this, it's coming down to local municipalities. Well, I haven't seen a dollar of it yet. So, that might be a good, Geraldo report to follow up on or something, I don't know, but I mean, like, and we talk about it, and everybody, when we go to CCAP, it's every county across the state has the same problem. Why can't it be fixed? And PennDOT is not accountable to anybody. They hand them the money, and that's it. They do what they want.
The other problem is, we do get this meeting, is getting those elected officials, senators and representatives from the 11 counties together in one room. That's extremely difficult. We can't even do that when we go to Harrisburg for our conference. At one time, we'd have and the reason it was in March was when they were in session, we'd try to have a legislative reception so we could talk to all our elected officials, invited the senators and representatives, the governor, et cetera. And we'd have a reception, but it kind of fell apart mainly because when they were in session, they'd be having meetings, budget meetings, and things of that nature at night, and we'd get very few of our representative, and the county association was spending quite a bit of money to put on a reception to meet with the representatives, and it's hard to get them together, to get them all in the same place at the same time, so we can talk to them.
You done? Mr. Notstein, any comments?
That's it.
Mr. Franco?
The only thing I would like to do is just tap on that and just basically say, it's amazed me from the beginning that we own bridges that we don't own the roads going to. That just kind of was an eye-opener for me. And I do agree with my fellow commissioners and those in the 11 counties. This starts at the federal government and trickles down to state and stops there. And we're not the only county dealing with it. The whole state is. We're fortunate to have fewer bridges than some other counties. They really have a mess, but that's not solving the problem. It starts at the top, and everybody loves to stand up and give speeches about how much they're going to give you, but boy, trying to get a hold of that money sometime, huh, Ellie? The regulations they put on us is so, I concur with the gentleman on both sides of me that this starts a little bit higher than the county commissioners, a lot higher than the county commissioners. And they need to get their heads together and get the money to the taxpayer.
And we're always talking about, saving businesses.
No.
This is a killer to businesses. I mean, you look at other counties, like they closed and 3 businesses closed on one road. You can't, and I said that one, I have no idea what's gonna happen with that one in Mahoney Township. Is that people are coming from Jim Thorpe, going the back way to go to the senior center or, and the other way they're going up to the gun clubs and things like that. So how is that gonna affect all of them? You know, it's.
And the answer everybody likes to get is, we get liquid fuel money. Well, that's not gonna cut it. And the other answer is, you get liquid fuel money and they're county owned. Well, I don't think the county, I know I didn't put my hand up to take a bridge. It was kinda given to us from PennDOT in 19, I think it goes back to 24s, it goes way back. But, you know, it doesn't solve the problem.
They could hand us $100 million today, and it'd take 3 to 4 years or more to you go through everything, the design, engineering, permitting, frog studies, you know, toads, you name it. You know, all the endangered species and everything you have to work around. The $100 million you got today for 50, or for 3 projects will now be $150,000 till you finally get to build the damn thing. So the process just takes forever as well till you bid it and go, you know. I wish the state, it's your problem.
Yeah, and there were like a lot of little smaller bridge companies, you know what I mean, that weren't the billion-dollar companies. And now they're phasing out because they're all working on these big bridges that are 30, 40, 50 million dollars. There's not very many little contractors out that can do a bridge that's only 40, 50 feet long, you know? So once our stuff gets back in, that it's gonna be worked on, are there any of these big companies that even wanna come to work on a little bridge? You know,
And one of the suggestions that I had set out is, and how that works, I mean, that's another whole issue, but if the state really cares, or the federal government really cares, and both commissioners hit on that, we'll then bundle the bridge projects together. Pick an area where there's 4 or 5 bridges that are close, and let's bid them all out. That you don't have to do all these individual, because, I mean, so bundle a bunch of bridges together. So if you're in the northern part of the county in Carbon, and you can tap into Luzerne or Lackawanna and bid it out, but I don't know, the feds and the state seem to have a problem with that.
The state ran a bridge bundling program a few years ago. In fact, that's how the one in Penn Forest is getting done.
Right. So let's get back to
Yes.
rebundling, and why that's not happening, I don't know, but that was one proposal that I set forward, was bundling again. But I don't know why that's not happening.
The other thing is the cost of engineering for these is, I know when we had one wash out by the flood several years ago, Penn Forest on our line, I think it was Penn Forest and Kidder Township border. He got said and done, it was a $500,000 project. It was because of flood, we got the funding, but it came down to the last day that the project got completed because and the engineering fees were almost as much as the, cost of replacing the bridge, because you gotta do your core testing and first before you design it. How deep do you have to put your footers and, edge wall and everything else? It just overburdensome for our engineers as well. And if they don't like something, when you send it to the district office where their engineers review it, and if you miss something, they send it back, you go to the back of the pile and start it's just a process. And then they have a second person reviewing it now, so another engineering first. So you have the county engineering, maybe you have the state engineers, and then a third review. So no wonder we can't get bridges fixed.
Yeah, and I think Wayne hit on it too, like if there's one like little thing wrong with it, you send it back and you're at the bottom of the pile. They don't take care of that issue. You get in the back of the room. They don't even finish what they started. Like I never understood that whatsoever. But then,
The other
well,
thing that
we're
gripes
probably
me
gonna
about
get,
PennDOT,
that's gonna be
while
calling
I'm
us
on
this
this
afternoon, what do you think?
subject, maybe they'll hear it. The other issue is every time they have a hearing for a bridge up here, where do we have to travel to? PennDOT office in Allentown and pay the parking fees and everything else, and parking garage and that, the higher rents area, but can't even get them to come up here to host a meeting, you meet with 10 people with PennDOT and nobody can make a decision. Well, that person's not here, well, why the heck are we meeting? So
Well, I was at the
we're
last one.
venting our frustrations with the system.
I'll keep going. The one that was the Route 80 bridge, I was at that meeting, I think that was last week, and I think the media was there. And everybody that asked questions, we're working on that. So you got 2 buses that gotta come through during school, and you're gonna close it, and now you're working on it. Don't you think you'd have a plan before school? You know, it's like it's always, and I think they'll attend, I mean, I don't wanna put them on the spot, but everyone that asked the question, they're working on it, and we'll get them an answer next meeting.
I think that's.
Okay,
enough.
that's enough now.
My blood pressure's up, so I guess.
All right, everyone take a deep breath.
Well, it's a good thing we vended.
Are we all good? You all did that in under 45 minutes. That concludes the county commissioners meeting. The election board meeting.
Great, I'm next.
I make a motion to say yes for everything.
She will tell you who to vote for now to solve these problems.
Watch out, they're feisty too.
I see that. All right, so on the agenda is the Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes,
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Guests concerning election board business. Take that as a no? Any further business?
yes, Department of State and
I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I know.
I
Another
do.
frustration is the directions we got out of the Department of State.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you know, with between CCAP, the elected, our elections officials and our elected officials are supposed to be hammering this out, but when they tell you, well, talk to your county solicitor, well, you have 67 county solicitors, so you get 67 stories maybe, if they'd come out and really give us a straight answer, not on election day, and how long do you have to work on something before we can tell us what you want out of us, how do we secure it? Not that we're unwilling or anything, but, without some concrete guidelines, it really puts, exposes us to liabilities as well, if we don't have those defined rules and policies. That's all I'm gonna say, that's enough.
Okay, so in further business, I just want to add, April 9th is the latest day to send the ballots out. Unfortunately, our ballots are not printed yet. We keep getting phone calls because there's 2 appeals going on with the state for 2 candidates. So I cannot get those printed out until I get those done. Last day to register is April 8th. So everybody knows that in the public. And April 16th is the last day to turn in for an absentee or mail-in ballot. Okay? No further business?
I would have one
Okay.
thing. I just
Yes.
I know everybody kind of watches social media and checks it, and
I don't.
Carbon, or reads the newspaper. Carbon County will not be extending any dates, if you've read it, due to a solar eclipse like
Yes.
they're doing in here. So you
Yes.
can get online and follow that. We've had our conversation. We will follow the calendar set forth by the state. It just,
Boy, am I glad I'm not.
boy, I get these calls. Well, I get these calls, and it's like, and that is part of where each county has the right to make some adjustments. And maybe that's one place where they should all be conformed, but other areas in. But we're all going to experience a solar eclipse, and we'll all see the next day at the same time. I'm sure of that. If not, but we're not going to be looking at anything like Erie. So please don't call and ask. It's not happening, right? Right, Mr. Arner? Right? They're not even aware of it. So, but we had the
We
conversation.
had a discussion, yes. We're not closing the office, and we will be open till 5 that day
Yes.
for any late people.
You have the special.
So watch how you report there, because I don't want it to get out that we are, because we're not.
No,
But
we're
I'm just giving you.
not.
This is another one again. Remember last week I said we're ahead, but we're not?
Right,
This is another one.
Yeah.
We're okay, but we're not. No.
And I'm not faulting, the county has every right to make whatever decision they wish up there, but we're not gonna get outside the law. So,
All right, that's it.
anything further? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Well, I guess last week we started in the front with Amy, we'll go to the back this week first.
Okay, well,
Uh-huh.
let's,
Oh, well.
No more about the bridge, no.
do
Or
have
the
a
election,
question
or no.
about that. So, okay, so I know you've mentioned before, like, with how much it would cost, we just talked about it would cost a lot to repair and replace all the bridges. Is there anything that the county can kind of do to prepare for repairing some, or is this kind of just, it's just too much?
Well,
For all of it.
like the trouble with it when you try to repair something, you have to like there at Lehighton. If we'd had the money, we could go in there. I mean, we do have some money. We could go in there, rip the deck off, and redo it. But you have to go through PennDOT to get it approved. You know, like we're at their mercy. So then it takes years to get it approved, and they just don't get that. It's like, and it's very simple things. Like it's just taking the deck off. They did it there at Weisport years ago. They took the deck off, put a membrane down so that water can't get down through it, and then they put a surface over top of it. Some of the things are just simple like that are $400,000 or $500,000 jobs that turn into $6 million jobs in years, you know, in the future. And it's like, I'm like that bridge there. I looked at it this morning. I think we're going to wind up having a total replacement there.
So what happened?
I'll tell you
The
what happened.
surface just came off.
You don't know seriously what happened,
We
is
just keep-
when they started to redo 443, everybody began to find a different way to get around that. And they began to use that bridge more heavily than what it had been in the past. And there was more weight in that, because everyone, well, I don't wanna go up 443, I don't wanna get tied up in a traffic jam, so they did the runaround. And then we all did it, but that wore that bridge. Well, you know, and PennDOT did not tell people that that was the official detour, because there wasn't any, but let's face it, we all do that. But PennDOT needs to take a better look at when they do road construction, how's it gonna affect the surrounding area? And then if it's going to, then PennDOT should be held responsible, or at least provide funding, or the state should give us some funding to fix what that construction has caused. Because, I mean, it happens all the time, not just in Carbon, all over the state. And people ran that bridge, heavier trucks got on the bridge, even though they shouldn't, you be posted, and commissioners did everything they could to try to stop that, but that's what really wore on that bridge. Not that it wasn't already worn out, but that added to the issue.
So is it closed now?
No, I don't, I'm hoping it's not gonna be. I hope they can repair it, but how long it's gonna last again? You know, you just can't keep repairing and repairing. I mean, it's like you're putting a patch on your roof. Pretty soon your house is gonna fall down. I mean, it's like, and I said, I looked at it this morning, them piers like where they're eroded from everything and even underneath. You don't realize what's happening there because you don't see, because you can't see inside them concrete, you know, beams with the metal inside of it. They could be rotting away inside, and we don't even know it. I mean, you see rust stains coming out, so you would have to think that the beams are rotting away inside, and it's like, how do you know that? I mean, and you just can't keep the water running down through and through and through, and it's like, I said, I don't know what. I mean, when I went there this morning, the borough called me, and they said that they'll try and help us out whatever they can. And our guys are down there working on it now, but it's like, it's scary when I looked at it. I mean, when you see concrete that's scattered all over the bridge, and I have a piece of rebar in the back of my truck. People actually drove on it that have ripped a piece of rebar out. Like, that's pretty extensive. You're going down into the concrete that's below the blacktop. So this is a problem that's a foot down, not just the top layer. It's like, I don't know what to say. It's like, and you just keep trying to do stuff. And I said, we have $1 million if we have it. Yeah, we could fix that, but now it's getting to the point, it's almost too far gone, and it's gonna wind into a total rehab. It's not gonna be just the top surface. There's wing walls that go back, and then they'll say, well, now you gotta replace the wing wall. So it's not just replacing the bridge, it's replacing something maybe 40, 50, 60 feet upstream. You know, it's not just there, it's the wing walls that go back. So I don't know, I mean, it's like, Packer Township, that one's down to one lane. You can see through down to the river, right? That's why it was closed to one lane, it was patched up. So how long is that gonna last? And we have that, all these bridges, you have the one up at Penn Forest, that was closed years ago. You know, and there's so many around, and it's not, I don't know what to say, it's like, I mean, and some of them ones, and little ones that are, they're old historic bridges in Mahoney Township, that they're stone, and we can't even afford to fix them, just to fix the top, so the water don't get down through. And if you look at them and you walk to the side, you can see the stone, how it's starting to separate. So I think Carbon County is gonna be in trouble within the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, there's,
5 to 10 months.
well, I know, it's like,
Tops.
well, some of them, like I said, like that one up at Packard and this Lehigh one, when I looked at that this morning, and there it is, you have 443 that's going through the whole thing. They put that on, and I always complain about this change orders and everything, but how does PennDOT come through, fix a road, and we're responsible for anything that's added on to the project, okay? So how don't they give us money, and they're supposed to be ahead of the project? So don't they have any contingency money left that they had on that project to give the boroughs and townships that when those, like Mike said, bundle? Why didn't they bundle projects like that? The 9th Street Bridge, once they decided to do that, that was done. They decided that had to be done because it was a bad idea to do 443, so that was done right away. Why is our bridge any different than that? That connects to 443, the new highway. I said they're building roads to nowhere.
Okay.
You really want me to tell you what I feel about it?
Alright, also. So, where are we now? Is this sort of the same, or just put us behind?
Well, I think we're in like a little bit of a lull there because there's some things like that where furniture has to be replaced or desks and everything. They have to run data lines, and that's where I said like we might be ahead at some point where we're putting phone lines in, but there's not data lines there. And I still think we're rushing a little bit too much to have everybody move the first week of April. I think we have, because if you have the DA run down, they need like 17 phones or data lines. The clerk of courts is here, they need a lot of data lines and things, and they have to keep operating. You know, when they say, oh, well, we can move you down, yeah, we can move them down today. But are they gonna be able to do their job efficiently? So, I think I'm back to it again. We're ahead, but we're not. and that's the only way I can explain it, because the project itself, the construction part of it, you know, ripping out, demo, putting pieces back together was okay. But the IT and the electrical part is not up to where we wanted. Not what I think. I don't think we're gonna be able to move within 2 weeks. There's no way, because they didn't even start putting the data lines in. When I talked to the one contractor yesterday, they had the retrievers. They didn't even have a line for the retriever. So they had to put a line for the retriever in, and it took 2 of their men almost 8 hours to pull the line through to hook the retriever up in the Prothy's office. So those are the little bit of snags that you take 2 guys off of the job for a whole day. That's a lot of work that's not getting done that should be done. And I think you can sit here and claim that you're ahead by 2 months, but you're not. There's always them little things that snag you up. So I'm sort of trying to like encourage that we don't move as quickly as we do, because there's no way that these people are gonna be able to operate their offices efficiently. You know, not everybody can work wireless, and some of these things with the court, I don't even think we can hook wireless communication up. You know, it's security. You can't do it. So I think we ought to just settle down a little bit and take it a little easy and maybe push it back a week or 2. And if they're claiming they're 6 to 8 weeks ahead, how about if we push it that we're only a month ahead and get the things done that have to be done to move these people?
Who are you planning to move in the 2 weeks?
I think, well, it would have been, I think on the 8th was gonna be, well, they were gonna start moving the DA downstairs for his temporary move, and then I think Tyra was gonna be moving the week afterwards. And it's like, there's a lot of work to be done there, just on data, you know? And then it comes back that a lot of our maintenance people are gonna have to run the lines, because it wasn't in the contract. So that's things that are gonna have to be settled out, and this thing where I said, like, it's not costing us anymore, but it winds up costing it more anyway, because a lot of that stuff was not in the contract. And our employees, our maintenance are not data people for running lines. I mean, we had, you know, other companies coming in and doing this. Now, our guys are all down there at the bridge today working. We have issues all around the county to take care of. They don't have time to do wiring and, you know, and then I go back to it again. As the county, we can't piecemeal things, so what is this considered? If it's not in the project and the county's doing it, is that not piecemealing? Simple as that. But we can't do that. And I won't ask the solicitor for his comment on it. No. But that's the thing about it, like, you get into these projects and it's like, you know, it's, and I think the project is going well. I mean, I'm not condemning that, but I think projecting these days to move people is like, we gotta take a little bit of a break on this and get things done. Because, you know, people come in and they think that phase 1 was the first floor, and they come in for a trial or whatever, and the ceilings are on, there's wires hanging there. Like, how do you move to phase 2 before it doesn't even have an appearance that the phase 1 is done?
So how much would that move date be pushed by, do you think, like a month to 2 weeks?
Well, I don't know what they're doing, because even like when you have a discussion with them, the contractors that have to go to the next phase that are demolition or whatever, you know, people that have to come in for the second phase, they're actually going on and asking them if they can move up. You know what I mean? They can move their work up 2 months. They might be on other projects. You know, when you have something that's in order, and we also have it like with the air conditioning. There's gonna be a problem with the air conditioner. They're gonna have to put temporary air conditioning in till they take, you know, they're taking parts out and putting new ones in. So when the ductwork goes in, they're gonna have to hook a temporary air conditioning up for the summer. That's gonna be an issue, you know? I don't think,
I think in reference to ahead but behind is probably the best way to say it. This is where myself and Commissioner Arnold probably do disagree. Being around construction, time is money, and money is time. So as we can move this project along in a more timely manner, that's where some of your cost savings comes in, and Rocky will agree to that, that while you're ahead, you're behind. So if you can get ahead in areas, that's gonna save you money. He alluded to the air conditioning. Had we not moved ahead in the air conditioning, the ductwork in that would not even have been ordered yet, and there would probably not have been air conditioning available in courtroom number 1 for the summer months. So as much as, like he said, and we move ahead so that we're ready for the next phase, because it'll cost you less money than doing the temporary. We can actually use the ductwork that will be installed rather than putting temporary ductwork, tear it out and put back. So it's a constant balancing act in keeping the project moving ahead in a timely manner. And we all do understand that trying to move offices is going to be brutal. I'm not gonna lie to you, because what does happen is there is some furniture issues, and like I said, come in here, I'm not midway or at the beginning of, there is furniture that probably should have been ordered last June. But the reason that didn't happen is because final designs weren't done. So now you got that done, and you're moving to the next phase. And in order to fit all those bidding processes and get your purchase orders in place, there's a time frame that you have to do that. And that's where you're ahead, but you're behind. We're ahead getting to the office, but we're behind having the furniture ready. So, but that should not stop us from moving to the next area, because if we fall behind there, then the next phase is going to cost you more, because while you have that contractor here and set up, that saves you money. We personally don't want to pay for him to leave and come back. And if you kind of keep pushing it down the road, if they leave now that this project, if we can get ahead and get everybody back to, if you want to call it normal, get everybody back to a normal courthouse, that makes life a lot a lot less stressful on everybody, but it also makes us run more cost effectively. Good example is, I'll just say this one real quick. Heating system goes down April 15th. It's gotta be back online by September.
Gotta remember that building was built in 1893. They didn't have window air conditioners, they didn't have central air, they had central heat. They had fireplaces in the rooms for heat. The walls are a lot thicker. It's a lot different from what we have today. And I don't think there's anybody in this room that was here in 1893 to really discuss it, or even in the 30s. You know, when you have a building that old, and we have grown so much with technology and data lines and electric lines and you name it, so you're gonna run into problems. No doubt.
And to all the employees and row officers that are affected, that are dealing with the everyday dust, dirt, confusion, cleanup, setup, I thank them for their understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's other plans and other ways we could have done, but that's not what was decided. What was decided to do what we're doing, and we're all gonna have to, it's easy for me to say that, because I sit here in a nice, organized area, but those who are over in the courthouse are not. And I would personally like to thank all of them for putting up with that, because it can be frustrating, so we'll move forward.
County has grown. Look how many employees we have now compared to years ago, you know, in the 1900 area, how many employees? Our office already used to be in one building. We only had one judge, was probably part-time back then, you know, and now you got 3 judges, 3 staff. Our numbers are so much higher than surrounding counties, more than twice our size, so, yeah.
So has work started on the second floor then, or not yet?
Yes,
Yes.
Demolition work.
they began doing demolition work to get the courtroom number 1 ready for air conditioning. You know. Now that we rebuilt the courthouse and fixed some bridges today, is there anything else?
Not good.
Okay.
And the dog shelter is running greatly, if anybody wanted to know. And
Yes, it is. They're doing a great job.
Every month is adopt a dog.
yes.
Anything else? Amy, she was making a list. I could see it. Yes.
I'm going to the parking ordinance.
Okay.
How many spots are currently in the county lot?
I think it's around 400. It seems though, unfortunately, every time we do a project, we lose parking spaces. We lost some when we put the trail in, when we put the storage building in. We're looking at changes here in the crossing and going from diagonal or straight in parking to parallel parking to widen the sidewalk, because that has become an issue. We've got about 3 lawsuits, I think, people falling off the sidewalk because it's narrow. You got telephone poles in the middle of the sidewalk. So yeah, it's what's more expensive, replacing the sidewalk or paying the lawsuits for people that get injured. So it's an insurance issue. When we did the trail, we lost and paid. What else did we do? You know, it just seems like, the bridge, how many spaces did we lost when we put the footbridge in? So yeah, our numbers are going down, but you know, and people wanna put up a parking garage, you know, not cost effective to begin with, and where are you gonna park for 2 or 3 years while you built this garage? So, you know, you think it's a mess now, try to put a parking garage in there, it's gonna be even worse.
With regards to the increase on weekends, is there a specific reason why you guys decided to do that increase?
Yes, because currently, if you take a walk around county property, and Wayne had just alluded to one, we do have some liability issues where people are falling, coming in and out of the train station. We have sidewalks within the county park that need to be replaced. Sidewalks in front of 76 and 44 need to be replaced. There is a sidewalk down here on the corner of the administration building that needs to be replaced, and all of that work is going to be done. And, well, taxpayers of Carbon County pay enough. Not every taxpayer uses it, so this is a way to get money to help do those repairs and upgrades that doesn't get passed on to it's passed on through a tax, obviously, to park a car, but you're not seeing your real estate tax go up so that we can fix sidewalks that some people probably never use in their lifetime here, unfortunately. But this is a way for those who use that are paying it and being upgraded
We
at
do
no
not
cost.
our, maintenance department, charges their time for the parking lot, to the parking fund. The repairs are the maintenance, the heating, and, everything for the train station is no longer tax dollars. It's, comes out of the parking fund. So, the sidewalk, and the crossing, we're working with the railroad and that, so, the money that we are taking on it is, used for the employees, it pays for the employees, it pays for the maintenance. Years ago, we had bought a pickup and snowplow because we do, maintain the parking lot, you know, for, residents and businesses that rent, so, yeah, we are using that money, to fully pay all the costs of the Josiah White Park, the train station, and the parking area, as well as the other parking lots.
And I do think one other thing is I know it's being looked at, is extending of the lighting up through the county lot, all the way up to the maintenance garage. There's light poles there that stop, and, so, I mean, all those costs, as if Wayne had stated and what I had stated, those are costs that people who use those services, that'll now go toward that and doesn't come out of the real estate end of it.
With regards to parking, just, it's off the agenda, but, electric vehicles are you guys ever thinking about putting electrical things?
Yes, there is some discussion. I did go to the program that, was held sponsored by Jim Thorpe Burrell at the school. Disappointing turnout by people. There's maybe only a dozen of us there, 5 of them were from Jim Thorpe. Currently, there's very little or no funding available to it, and I was amazed the cost of what it is to put one of those stations in. Could be upwards of $50,000 to do the wiring. That's a fast charge, 240 lines. You'd have to do a lot of electrical work, the charging stations. Yes, we could charge fees to pay for it, and I never did get an answer to you know, what was the payback or the return on the investment for those stations. We have heard some complaints that there are no charging stations, but even the process, according to them, it's gonna take 3 to 6 years if you apply now for that funding and that until you get it in. So we figured we'd have to do design stage, bidding stage, you know, installing the electrical and everything else, and how many do you put in? You know, and, you know, you certainly wanna plan for the future, and from what I'm hearing, the sales have really dropped on EVs, for several reasons, I guess, so. Yeah, we're looking at probably maybe 5 or whatever, and where do we put them? Just in the main parking lot? Do we have to put them in the other parking spaces as well?
And when it gets to that, not to interrupt Wayne, but I think when you look at that, that's another issue of bundle. Because if the county looks at it, then is the borough of Jim Thorpe looking at it? Is downtown Lehighton looking at it? Is downtown Pomeroy looking at it? And is Weatherly or other areas, because there's not just electric cars coming to Jim Thorpe, they're coming throughout the county. So is it the type of thing you try to get a bid together that covers the entire county and you get a better cost at it and you get a better bid? So that's something that has to kind of, I think our COG is currently discussing that, and hopefully that group of individuals can come back with some direction as what they would feel, and some places just simply don't want it. But I mean, I think when you put it out and you say, hey, we can do something for all these boroughs and all these townships and areas, it obviously saves everybody money, hopefully, and gets everybody involved. Trying to get that bundle together, it's always, as Ellie smiles, can be difficult.
I think you have a flyer for that, the company that put them on that came in. I'll have to see, or contact the borough, but we were gonna bring them in for the COG, and then found out that Jim Thorpe was sponsoring this, so we, you know, they invited everyone, and we sent it out to the COG members, all the municipalities. To let you know, I went to the NEPA board meeting last week, and the same person did the same presentation for about half an hour, so I got to hear it twice. But it's not only us looking at it, and it's a government, they were working with the Department of Energy on the statewide, and in these programs, community something, it's called. So but they don't only work with with electrical vehicles. They're looking at all the sources of energy and working with propane, gas line, all that. So there's a lot involved.
Okay, and with this parking ordinance, when would this go into effect, when you guys adopt it?
Advertisement, is it 30 days? I don't know.
Advertise a date, so. April first? No, too late.
It'll be in the advertisement, yeah.
Probably not till May or now or June, if anything.
Yeah.
So it's time for summer.
Where are you
Oh,
parked?
yes.
We'll put it in the forecast.
Thank you all. Enjoy your weekend. For those of you who have some Irish in you, happy St. Patrick's Day.